how do you feel about the deportation of Abrego Garcia?
I don't care about it. I mean, I'm glad he's deported, whether it's
Yeah.
El Salvador or somewhere else. The procedural stuff around it, when he was an illegal immigrant with the deportation order and all that stuff with the crisis we have at the border, I don't doesn't bother
What
me.
what would you say to Americans who say due process is important in every case, regardless of who the person is?
I would ask them what due process are they talking about. I would say we give them the same due process that they had coming in than they do going out, which was almost none. That's what I would say because the crisis is so bad. I don't think people understand. 15 million people unvetted. We have Al Qaeda, ISIS. This is all public available. I'm not speaking out of term. Uh, the cartels that set up networks here. It's really bad. I don't think people understand the degree to how bad it is.
So would you say if someone's here illegally and the government brands them as a gang member, you'd be for no due process, just take them out, send them wherever,
Well,
or
obviously,
some limited due process?
right. From my understanding, they could file a habeas corpus
But
in
what
court, and
if you could make the policy? Is there? I guess let me ask it this way:
well,
is there anything the Trump administration could do in terms of deporting someone illegally that would raise concerns for you about due process or rights or not?
unfortunately, not. And if you asked me 5 years ago, I would have said yes. But the crisis is so bad that I'm sorry. It's just not there for me.
You
I'm just being
speak
brutally honest.
you speak for tens of millions, but not everybody. But you do speak for tens of millions. Thank you for joining and for sharing all that with us.
I just, Mark, since your last question, I'll make this quick, but I do think it's interesting. You had a President Biden who, when the Supreme Court ruled that his student loan, quote unquote, forgiveness was not constitutional, and he went ahead and tried to do it anyway. None of these people on the left had a problem with following the Constitution or claiming that there's a constitutional crisis because he was going against the court. When these people were allowed to come into the country illegally, no one had a problem. I mean, like, I get a kick out of all these folks who are suddenly worried about due process and the Constitution and everything. For 4 years, they sat silent and didn't worry about the Constitution. They didn't worry about due process. They didn't have an issue with constitutional crises. And suddenly now it's, the hill to die on. So,
Yeah,
well, but the Biden administration kept tweaking the pot. I mean, that's how they kept trying to get around it. They didn't just ram it down and say we're not changing anything and like let us do Sharpies on X.
And I'll say there are tens of millions, Sean, who would say, why aren't you all concerned now if you were concerned back then, right? It works both ways. And
well, I think there's a difference. I think I am concerned about due process, but I do think that when you are in the country illegally, a court has adjudicated that you are a gang member.
Right.
It's an Article 2 court. I mean, they can
but as you know, the vast majority of rhetoric from the White House and the White House's supporters is not fighting it out on the merits there. The vast majority is this is a bad guy, and Democrats are fools to defend a bad guy. So I'm for accountability in both, and I'll say I have infinite patience, but I'm a little sick of people saying Lloyd Austin was a bad Secretary of Defense, so Pete Austin can do whatever. Pete Hegseth can do whatever he wants. Like I don't understand that argument. That's not a principled argument for anything. Hey, want to be part of the two-way community all the time? Hit the subscribe button. Great video clips like this, plus conversations like no other, full episodes and more, always available on this channel. You got to hit subscribe to never miss a thing.